All of the most successful businesses in the world have a solid business plan, and it's just the same in the property investing world where you need a solid property business plan. Maybe you're lacking a little bit of clarity and direction to truly understand what are the best strategies for you and how do they fit into your long-term plans and goals in the property investing world. Many of us, and myself included, have shiny penny syndrome where there are loads of strategies out there and we focus on one and then pivot to another and kind of can't quite decide where should we truly get started in the property investing world. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Matt. I work for a bank by day, I invest in property on the side, and on this channel we explore all things money, finance and property investing to help people lead a more financially savvy life. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel for loads more property videos. In this video, we're going to explore the strategies and the direction and the clarity that you need to create a solid property business plan. Now, the benefit of having a great plan in place means that you understand what strategy is best for you, why you're doing it, and how it fits into your long-term goals so that you can really hit the ground running on your property investing business. And the reality is that your property plan doesn't need to be a huge 50-page boring document. It can be a really simple few sentences where you know what you're doing, why you need to do that to get to where you need to be. As Leonardo da Vinci once said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So we're going to create a property business plan together, and we're going to do that by answering three simple questions. Where are you today? Where do you want to get to, and how are you going to get there? And this will help us understand where to put the start line, where to put the finish line, and how you're going to build the systems, the processes and habits to meet that goal. As James Clear explains in his book Atomic Habits, it's the systems, processes and habits that help us achieve our goals. Goals do not set us apart from others. So part one is all about understanding where you are today and where to put that start line. Imagine if you was going on holiday and flying to an amazing destination. How are you going to get there if you don't know what airport you're starting from? Spend some time looking at your experience today. Have you got existing experience in buy-to-let? Have you invested in property before? Do you own your own home? And how much money do you really have to start with, and can you start using safely within property investing? Then think about who you know as well. Do you have any friends who are in the trades? Do you have a family member who is a builder, for example? Or do you have any specific set of skills that could include building or labouring, or you could be an amazing project manager, for example. Beyond that, you should be thinking about how to keep progressing as well. So how do you work on deal number 2, number 3? How quickly can you replenish those savings? So if you spend all of your money on deal 1 and you don't manage to make enough money within that particular deal, is it going to take you another 5 years to save up a deposit again to try a second time round? And I'd also give some thought towards how much time you have available. So do you have multiple days a week where you can work on a property project? Is it just evenings and weekends? Are you far away from the property area that you're going to buy in? Then part 2 is your North Star goal. This is all about where you want to get to and the direction to get you there. There are many ways to measure goals and set them as a target, and I break this down into 2 areas, and that is your literal financial goal and your lateral life goal. Now, the literal financial goal is trying to understand how much money you would need to survive and to live, and also quit your job if that was the aim ultimately of getting into property investing. So for example, if your salary is £2,500 every single month after all the taxes, etc., and that's how much you need to replenish your basic income and living costs, you would need roughly 10 houses if they generated £250 a month in buy-to-lets. So you'd need 10 houses to replace that kind of income. Now that is a literal financial goal. A lateral life goal is really understanding on a deeper level, what does that allow you? Is it more time, freedom, flexibility, security? Is it wanting a pension in the future and some kind of security when you do stop working? Is it that you want to spend more time with family and with kids, and having a business will allow you to do that? And this begins to tie in quite nicely to how much time you have available. So if you have evenings and weekends and you want to hit your North Star goal in 6 months of replacing your job, it's just not going to happen. And I was actually at a Fate Guru training course last year from a guy in the property investing world, and he ran a task where he asked everyone to think about this exact North Star goal and where do they need to get to. And he also asked everyone to think about what is the kind of basic minimum income that they would need to quit their jobs. And this absolute lunatic at the front of the room stood up, waved his arms around, and he said something like he needed £10,000 a month just to live off basic expenses, and that's what he needed. And that didn't include any luxuries whatsoever. And to top it off, he wanted to do this in 6 months. The guy was an absolute nutter, and it was obviously quite clear that he was very out of touch with reality. So it's all about being realistic when you're setting these goals and understanding how does your time available and money fit into that North Star goal, and how long are you going to give yourself to hit the North Star goal? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? And make sure that it's realistic is the point behind that. Okay, and part 3 is how are you going to meet your property goals? So this is all about building the systems, the habits and the processes to get there. And this is the really, really important part, because you can set amazing goals, but you're not going to get there if you don't have the right systems and processes in place and you stick to a habit of trying to get closer every single day to that ultimate North Star goal. For me, I set this into 3 different phases. So I know that I want to build property into a long-term business in the future. It might take 3, 5, 10 years to do that. I haven't actually set a timescale on it, but I know I want to work there towards it. And what the 3 phases are is that phase 1 is all about building my seed capital. So I want to start flipping properties for 2 reasons. 1, it brings me extra experience. I can learn how to manage build teams, I can deal with dodgy builders, whatever it is that's thrown at me, I can learn all about that process and how to flip and renovate a house. But I can also, if I make enough profit, start to build up that seed capital to work on bigger, better and more projects. Phase 2 is all about then moving into cash flow. So this is beginning the transition into replacing my full-time income in my day job. So if I can then start investing in HMO properties, for example, which need more money up front that I will have got from phase 1 and more experience to get access to better mortgage rates, I can then start building a small but nice portfolio of HMOs, which could then bring in more cash flow to eventually think about replacing my full-time job. And then phase 3 is all about diversification, and this is all about minimizing risks. If you expose yourself to one strategy too much, you could introduce yourself to extra risk where over time that strategy starts to fall. For example, serviced accommodation and the Airbnb kind of holiday let this year has been massively affected. So if all of your portfolio was in city centre flats and you rented them out on Airbnb, when the virus hit, loads of people stopped booking on Airbnb. Airbnb let people refund all of the bookings that they had as well. So there was a big risk there, and people's income dropped massively. And it did surge again later in the year, but that's a risk. So diversifying that income and having a little bit of one strategy here, a little bit of one strategy there, can mean if one starts to fail, fall, or regulation changes, you still have another one propping you up so that you can start to pivot and shift and think about an exit strategy. Ultimately, I would love to get into development and building houses from scratch and building small luxury gated communities. That would be the ultimate dream. So even now, by starting off flipping houses and getting that kind of experience, I can then go to lenders in the future and say I've got experience of small scale refurbs and developments to get access to better products in the future. So my strategies in phase 1 still link to the strategies and the very end goal in phase 3 and beyond. And all I have to do is keep following that habit and the systems and processes of going on the next property and flipping that, moving on to the next one, building up to bigger, better strategies, building up my cash flow. And by doing that over a long period of time and sticking with it, that means I can eventually get to the end goal of building a lovely, small gated community of luxury houses. The hardest part is getting started and taking that action. It's so easy to get stuck in a bit of a rut online and looking through Rightmove and trying to work out numbers. But just get out there, start viewing properties, start making offers, speak to an accountant, speak to a mortgage broker, because when you are confident enough and you have the basics to do the first property, you can learn so much on the job itself. If you found this video useful, you can subscribe to the channel for loads more property videos just like this one here. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video.